The Ball d'Or was brought to you by
Suzuki. Ride the winds of change.
3 hours. Xavier Costes and Duhamel. Honda still in front. Poland, Goddard and Förstler, and Dorje, Morrison and Reimer. But it's only 35 seconds between them. Then it's one lap down to the other Suzuki. And the Honda RC45 of Charpentier. And Hislop is there as well, but still 2 laps down on the Yamaha YZF. And let me tell you what happened to number 2. Well, 25 laps down is the number 2 machine of Delatang, Ruggia and Fujiwara. Well down. They had a fuel problem and had to be pushed back from all the way around the track, but they are back out there on the track. Nice to see Hislop up there, even though he is 2 laps down. That's your leader at the moment, number 3. And this should be Lavier. If it's not, it's Duhamel coming to the end of his run. Some of them opting for 1-hour pilot changes here on the circuit. But as I said, just 3 hours into this. And a long way to go. And that is the number 2 bike previously. This was a little bit earlier on in the race. This is not live. This is looking back around about half an hour or so ago. And a very tiring push from halfway around the circuit. And having to wait as well while other riders go past. So the number 2 machine, one of the Yamaha teams, well down, 25 laps down. Of course, it's possible to make that up through the race. Anything is possible, only just over 3 hours into this race. It'd be nice to have a look at some of the others as well. The last I heard, very difficult to get quick updates here because things change so quickly, was that the number 15 team of Andrew Stroud, Jason Pridmore and Samson down in 13th place. That's the Phase 1 Kawasaki team, not doing too badly at all. And I remember very, very early on in the game, that the leaders were already passing one of the British teams here of Woodall, Henderson and Williamson with the Suzuki TL1000. I have to give them a mention though, because they put a lot of work in to come here. Number 5 bike of Poland, Goddard and Förstler in 2nd place at the moment, around about 13 seconds down on the Honda. And I know what you're asking, where's Terry Reimer, Brian Morrison and Dorje? Still on the same lap, I'll have you know. And only 30 seconds, 37 seconds down. They're the only 3 on the same lap here at the Bowl. Trying to have a close look at the Suzuki and the silencers they were using. As I said, last time I heard them was at Le Mans, standing right next to them as they screamed down the straight there. Called it the Devil Shouts. Worried looking team there. Christian Saron running the Yamaha team. So it's a Honda RVF RC45 of Xavier Costes and Duhamel in 1st place at the moment. It's still leading almost from the start of the race. In 2nd place, the number 5 of Poland, Goddard and Förstler. Försler, a fairly slow rider in this company. Goddard of Poland having to make time up here. Then it's the number 1 of Dorje, Ryan Morrison and Terry Reimer. The number 2 bike, which would have been there, Rogier, Fujiwara and Delatang, as I said, 25 laps down at the moment. That's number 1. Kawasaki ZXR 750, soft tuned for this race. But tuned well enough to pass nearly everybody else. Still holding the fastest lap here at about 175 kilometers an hour average speed. Time of 59.39 seconds. In 4th place, Gomez, Cote and Bonneuil, Bruno Bonneuil. That's the other Suzuki Castrol team. In 5th place, you're looking at number 9, Charpentier, Dussage and Stay. The Team Dafix Honda France RC45. And in 6th place, Steve Hislop, Krista Lindholm and Van der Bosch. On the other, Yamaha YZF SP. Close look at the 3rd place man here. Hoping for much better luck than they've been having in endurance racing this season. Broken conrod at Le Mans. Blow up at Spa. Hold radiator in Suzuka. Kawasaki normally such a dependable beast, especially in the soft tune for endurance racing. But as I said, a long way to go on this race at the moment, and the fans also taking in the sunshine and watching this race. There's loads going on down at the track. Bruno Bonneuil, Stefan Cotel and Gomez on the number 6, the second of the frightening Suzuki, especially when they go past you on the track. Incredible engine noise from these machines. And I must admit that at the beginning of the season, when they first came into endurance racing, I was saying to myself, it'll never happen, they'll never last. They'll be spitting their innards all over the place. It didn't happen. I was forced to eat my words after the first round at Le Mans, when they just ran on into the night. Number 85, the 05 Motor Racing team. Another French team, Patrick Hailino, Jean-Eudes Schmaltz and Laurent de Soto. Kawasaki ZX7R stock sport machine. Also, it will be nice to see some of the other bikes, but not if we've got the camera on the leaders. It's one thing you don't want to see is a number 14, number 15 or a number 16. You don't want to see them being passed. As the Motomax Sanyo Honda Britain team, number 14 of Paul Brown, Dean Taylor and Steve Plater, a VTR 1000 out on the track for endurance racing. The number 15, the Phase 1 endurance team, Stroud, Fred Moore and Samson. And the number 16, 3-3 team of Dan Harris, Ian Cobby and Smith out there on a Yamaha YZF. The number 4 Yamaha YZF SP of Steve Hislop, Christer Lindholm and Van der Bosch. Running alongside Gomez, Cote and Bonnet in the Suzuki, on top of the Suzuki GSXR. Six and 4 together on the track. But the number 6 machine of Gomez is one lap ahead. Steve Hislop trying to unlap himself. And that's your leader with them as well. But Elf Honda France RVF RC45 with the massively experienced Miguel Duhamel being roped into the squad. Remember, he won at Daytona. The little stick out the back, radio telemetry. You can actually talk to your pits with these. It's not they'd use it in short circuit racing, but here, oh yes, they'd love to. Thank you very much. And tell you what the problem is. The Morrison, Reimer and Dorje team bike in the pits for a quick look. I hope they haven't got major problems. They've been dogging them all year. Clutch being pulled out and put back together. Obviously clutch problems here. Going for a break. We'll be back with you and find out what's happened to that number 1 bike a little bit later on. With the clutch basket out, obvious clutch problems there. Terry Reimer, Jehan Dorje and Brian Morrison having all sorts of problems with that Kawasaki again. It shouldn't happen, but it has happened. The bad luck that's dogged them all season has struck yet again, and down at the bowl. They are down. Terry Reimer, 6th time here. Jehan Dorje, 7th time. Brian Morrison having a 6th time here as well. And this time is one of the times they'd like to forget. Let's just hope they get that clutch basket put in. And get back up to speed as soon as possible. Those are the stock sport ones. Just heard over the phones that the Kawasaki ZXR is back out and running. Team Kawasaki France back out, but in 4th place. Steve Hislop in the pits on one of the Yamahas, always being able to recognise Steve Hislop. Graphic helmet there. Time for Christer Lindholm to take over. These pit stops not taking very long at all nowadays. This one, though, a bit slower than it should be. Team Kawasaki France. Speaking to Terry Reimer beforehand, he said he's been able to get his pit stops down to 12 seconds. Tyres and fuel. Christer Lindholm just won the German Superbike Championship for the second time. Fires the bike out. Well fired up for this. We're looking at who should have been the leader. Latest information I have is that he's down in second place now, and it is the Poland Goddard and Fössler team that have passed them. Lavie Costes and Duhamel on the RC45. Honda having big problems at the beginning of the season when both their works bikes blew up at Le Mans, spreading bits of engine all over the place. Lots of exotic parts. If you'd like your exotic parts broken, there were quite a bit lying around the track at Le Mans. Another one of the French team there. Free bike performance. Of course, the French having a massive interest in this race. Nearly all of the teams are French, but the works teams, they know where to get their talent from. That's why Reimer and Morrison are in there, and Hislop. Don't forget the lower orders as well. 26 in the pits. For a Mecha Sports team, Yamaha YZF, SP Gilles Van Zetto for Bridge, Coimbelli, what a great name, Coimbelli, and Christophe Di Marino. The French cameraman seeming to like this number 24 team. Free bike performance. Had a little bit of an incident a little bit earlier on, about an hour ago, when the number 52 machine, German Suzuki, German team, crashed, lost the front end going into a corner, definitely on some short circuit work. Picked the bike up, got the engine running, and found out his front brake didn't work at all. Wobbled around the track, trying to get back to the pits, with the front brake lever flapping away in the air. The cameraman followed him around for a bit. Went away to look at some racing, came back, and he crashed again. Guillaume motorcycle team there. Christophe Guillaume, Andre Luciana and Sebastian Scarnato on the Kawasaki ZX-7R. So far, no real word on the number of retirements we've had out there. All the top teams are still up and running, though they've had their problems. Just one number from the lower orders, number 78, Kawasaki. Decided to give it a miss, the Strike Moto Endurance team. Kawasaki ZX-7RR from Eric Lerbet, Wilfred Vier, and Philippe Denis, yet another French team, decided to knock it all on the head and go home. And the French making it particularly difficult for anybody reporting this in English, because most of the details from the French in French, and unless you speak French incredibly well, very difficult to follow a lot of what's going on. But as it stands at the moment, it's Poland and the Suzuki and the Honda fighting over first place, each within a couple of seconds of each other. The number one Kawasaki down to fourth place now, behind the second Suzuki of Gomez, Kate and Bonneuil. Then comes the other RC45 of Charpentier, Dosage, and Steve Hislop and Christer Lindholm have got the Yamaha YZF SP in sixth place. Looking at number 94, we were earlier, because they're doing particularly well around here. Team Gio in seventh place. And the Phase 1 team, and fans will be happy to know that Andrew Stroud, Jason Pridmore, Brett Sampson up to 11th in the standings at the moment. Things can only get better for them. Aaron Brown, Dean Thomas and Steve Plater in 17th place. But unfortunately, it seems that the 3-3 team having problems here. Dan Harris, Ian Cobby and Smith down in 43rd. Obviously had problems earlier. Well in charge of this Suzuki, and the Suzuki always surprising me with what it can do. Not only has it got the speed, it's proved this year that it's got the endurance, taking the endurance title. And the one that everybody thought was going to be hard to beat, Kawasaki France, with Terry Reimer and Brian Morrison and Dorje in all sorts of trouble. Clutch basket out. What will happen next? So currently still the fight over first place between the Honda RC45 of Miguel de Hamel, Costes and Lavier, and the Suzuki GSXR of Poland, Goddard and Förstler. But nice to see Christer Lindholm on the number 4 bike, the one that Steve Hislop's riding in, unlapping himself. Pushing hard is Christer. Currently down in 6th place. Another one of the French teams here, Team Vega Sports, Jim Philippe, Guignano, Patrick Macchio and Patrick Venturini, Kawasaki ZXR. No, he says that one's not going to go. Sorry about that. Number 27. He's out of this one. And just getting some news through that number 45 team AJW Racing, Adam Woodall, John Henderson and Williamson. Apparently the Suzuki TL1000 has given up the ghost. From one of the sheets I've just been given, they're down as a retirement, which is a real pity to see one of those teams go out. But in these early days, a few retirements at the moment. The number 35 Kawasaki of Dobe